Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles. Now, before we start today's video, should the Eagles trade for Raheem Mostert? We're, of course, answering a lot of your mailbag questions. This was one of the questions that we're going to answer later on in the video. But right now, before we even start, should the Eagles go ahead and trade for Raheem Mostert? Type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so as we always do here during the weekend, we answer all of your Eagle-related mailbag questions as you previously submitted on a video just a couple of days ago. So let's go ahead and jump right into Dark Asks. I think Greg Ward will be a good slot receiver. I know that Jalen Reagor is the best fit, but what do you think? Well, listen, Greg Ward is kind of a wild card going into the 2020 season because we really don't know how good he's going to be. Now, he went from a practice squad quarterback to a practice squad wide receiver to a backup wide receiver to a starting wide receiver due to injuries last year and showed when he did play that he could be an effective player. Now, the stats aren't that great because he didn't play a lot of games last season, again, because it was towards the latter part of the year. If he plays all 16 games, at the level he played at towards the end of last year, he can be a starter caliber slot receiver in the National Football League. But that's still a very big if. Whereas Jalen Reagor, who's my slotted number 3 wide receiver in the Eagles wide receiver depth chart, he has been proven to have the skill. That's why he's a first-round draft pick. Has been proven to be able to go out there and make explosive plays. For as good as I hope Greg Ward is, I think Reagor's already better and will prove that in training camp and therefore prove it on the football field. Now, they can both coexist. There's plenty of room. You don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Jackson in terms of being cut or, injuries have been a problem for him. Also, it's probably going to be Alshon Jeffrey starting on the PUP list, so he won't be able to play early on. So both will get to play. But if I was picking who I want to play the slot more right now, it's going to be Reagor over Ward. But if Ward wants to prove me wrong, go right ahead and prove me wrong during the offseason, obviously going into training camp. Who will have a better 2020 season? Let me know what you guys think. Ward or Jalen Reagor? It should be Reagor because you're paying him more. He's a first-round draft pick, but it could be Ward. He's close and near and dear to all the hearts of Philadelphia. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. All right, moving on. Next question here comes from Kavi Jones, who says, would you still trade for Yannick knowing we will be $50 million or negative $50 million in cap next year, or I guess you should say $50 million over the cap next season? No, I would not trade for Yannick Ngakoue just because you said it. There's no way you're going to be able to pay him and re-sign him to the contract that he wants because the Eagles have so much money that they are going to be over the cap, meaning they're going to have to trim contracts, cut people, and do creative ways to get under the cap whenever they get to the 2021 season. So, as great as he would be as a pass rusher in what is a interesting defensive end unit where you have young guys like Josh Sweat, Jannard Avery, you have old guys like Brandon Graham, you have middle-of-the-road guys like Derek Barnett. He'd be great. It's just no way. He's going to cost way too much. I think the Eagles are honestly probably done with the majority of their moves this offseason, but if you think the Eagles should make another trade, drop a like on this video. Just hit the little thumbs up button if you guys think the Eagles should make one more trade. I would love for them to trade for some of these guys. The problem is that they don't have the money to pay for them, and when they don't have the money to pay for them, that normally means they will not be able to trade for them. It's just kind of how it works in the NFL. See, Kristen Stewart asked, I think that Quez Watkins can sort of pop off. Now, we talked about Quez Watkins earlier this week. He was one of our news videos because the Eagles officially signed him to a 4-year rookie contract. So people naturally, like Kristen, are wondering, can he actually pop off? The problem is, he's a 6th-round draft pick. And if the Eagles thought he could pop off, or any other team thought he could pop off in 2020, they would have drafted him a lot higher than the 6th and then the 200th overall pick in, obviously, the 6th round. Now, doesn't mean he can't play. The stats show he can actually play. But the problem is he's behind a lot of other good wide receivers who the Eagles obviously added in Marquise Goodwin and Jalen Reagor. Obviously, John Hightower drafted 1 round before him. So it's not a question of can Quez Watkins pop off, it's will he have the ability to pop off behind all the other young wide receivers who will get more playing time going at least into training camp. So Watkins makes all of his money in terms of playing time if he balls out in training camp, which will be against starters. He'll play against Darius Slay, he'll play against Vontae Maddox and Jalen Mills, and if he can do that, then sure. But pop off is kind of probably a little too generous for him. I think 200, 300 yards and getting some actual playing time and being on the active roster would be popping off this year for a guy like Quez Watkins. Okay, summer's officially here. It's hot outside, right? So a great 25% off deal on these Philadelphia Eagles official shorts right now at chatsports.com/Eagle shorts. You go ahead and pick those up. Link is down below in the description box. They're on sale. That way you can also rep the Eagles and stay cool because there's no way we're going to wear long pants for much longer, at least down here in the South where I am at because it is brutally hot outside. So go ahead and pick up your Eagles shorts, our first of 2 summer deals on today's video. 25% off at chatsports.com/Eagle shorts. ZYTX says, who do you think the toughest team the Eagles are going to play or face in 2020 and why? Okay, This one's tough because there are a lot of good teams on the Eagles schedule. Whenever you win the division, you normally have harder teams on your schedule. These are your 4 hardest opponents, in my opinion. At the 49ers week 4, Ravens at Lincoln Financial Field week 6, Seahawks week 12, and Saints week 14. Now, the good news here is that the majority of these hard games are at Lincoln Financial Field, whereas, for a lot of other teams, you might have to go on the road to play them. Dallas will obviously be tough this year, as we know that they always are. You play the Green Bay Packers this year, that'll be difficult. You play the Pittsburgh Steelers, but if I had to pick one game here, it's week 4 at San Francisco because it's the one game on the road. Ravens are going to be brutally hard. Seahawks are always hard. The Seahawks have had the Eagles' numbers for years and years and years. I mean, recent history, the Eagles have been unable to really beat Russell Wilson when he's been the quarterback. And the Saints obviously have beaten the Eagles more recently than the Eagles have beaten the Saints. So all those are really hard. I'd say the 49ers, though, would be the hardest one because it's actually going to be on the road. Let me know what you guys think, though, in terms of who has the hardest or who's the hardest opponent on the Eagles' schedule. It's a tough schedule. I mean, let's be honest. It's a difficult schedule. They'll have to navigate their way through it. But I think you still get 9 or 10 wins out of that very easily based on the Eagles' current overall roster and depth chart and skill positions available. Let's see, Jaquay Nelson asks, do you think a third, here's the Raheem Mostert question, actually. Do you think a third and a fifth would be enough to get Mostert? Okay, so here's your projected trades. The Eagles would get Mostert, 49ers would get a 2023 and a 2025. Yeah, I mean, that would be enough. That would 100% be enough because I think right now the 49ers would be happy with a 5th or a 6th round draft pick for Raheem Mostert because running backs aren't worth that much in the National Football League. That, to me, though, is a terrible trade for Raheem Mostert. You're telling me you can't get a Mostert comparable level caliber of running back in the 3rd round next year? And this is supposed to be a 2021, not a 2020 draft pick, but 2021 draft pick is what I meant. You can get running backs everywhere in the NFL draft this year. Look at the current starting running backs in the National Football League. You can find them at all different rounds. 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, 5th, 6th. I mean, this would just be too much to give to a guy who is good. Raheem Mostert's a good player, but even though he had 8 touchdowns last year, I think he would be number 2 behind Miles Sanders and would then, therefore, have less value in terms of his overall playing time in Philadelphia. I just think it's going to be too much. That would be too much. And even if you want to trade for him like a 5th or a 6th round draft pick, you're still going to have to re-sign him to $5 million a year, which, as we said, the Eagles do not have. So I'm going to go for a no on that trade overall. I will say yes, though, on you guys subscribing to Philadelphia Eagles Now, because we do these mailbag videos every single weekend. If you enjoy them, thumbs up and subscribe down below. The more subscriptions, obviously, the more videos we can do here on the channel. And speaking of that, the second summer deal is still here in terms of our summer deal at chatsports.com. So Eagles slide sandals, the authentic ones, not the fake, cheap sandals that you just buy and then they wear out super easily. These sandals are the real deal and they're on sale right now. chatsports.com/Eagles sandals. The link is also down below in the description box. So get the sandals and get the shorts. You can rock that to the pool, rock that out with your boys, rock that to the beach, wherever it is, and stay cool and in style repping the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see here. I think we have time to go ahead and we'll knock this one out. JTB asks, what do I think? I guess me. What do I think about trading Cox for Jamal Adams? The Eagles have great D tackles. Cox's contract is very high, and Jamal Adams is much younger and cheaper. Okay, so here is the projected trade here by JTB. He says Eagles get Jamal Adams, and the Jets get Fletcher Cox. And this has been a question that has been asked many, many times on Philadelphia Eagles Now when I ask for mailbag videos, and I think it's ridiculous. I think it's not going to happen, but the more I see it, the more I think, okay, let's go ahead and address it and tell you guys why I don't like it. So here's the deal. I get the idea that, hey, Cox makes a lot of money, but he's older. Jamal Adams will make a lot of money, but he's younger. Why not swap the old for the new and then therefore get more out of Jamal Adams through the course of his career? That technically makes a lot of sense, but you're going with Fletcher Cox, who is arguably the 2nd best defensive tackle in the entire National Football League. I mean, it might not even be arguably. That's like a fact. Behind Aaron Donald, if Aaron Donald didn't exist, Fletcher Cox would be the best D tackle in the entire National Football League. Now, is Jamal Adams the best safety in the entire NFL? It's debatable. He could be eventually, but he's not the best right now. And Cox still has many good years left on there. He's a leader on the defense, and I think having him on the defensive line is crucial. Now, I get it. You signed Javon Hargrave, you signed Malik Jackson, but both of those guys are not as good as Fletcher Cox. That's why Fletcher Cox is who he is and makes as much money as he does. We don't even know how healthy Malik Jackson is really going to be coming off of a season-ending injury last year. Supposed to be healthy. And Javon Hargrave is good. But the Eagles were only paying him like $10 million a year. It's not like he had a massive market in terms of his free agent value. So Cox, to me, is a crucial part of the Eagles because he is one of the best in the entire National Football League. Yes, you got to scheme against Jamal Adams, but when you play the Eagles every single week, especially on defense, the first guy you worry about is Fletcher Cox because he can ruin your day game in and game out. I get the idea of younger for older or older for younger, however you want to say it, but I think keeping Fletcher Cox is crucial to the Eagles' success because he's a big Philadelphia guy, he's a big Eagle guy, and he has built himself his big presence in that locker room, and he's absolutely fantastic overall. I just, again, don't see the Eagles trading for Jamal Adams, and so I'll keep saying that until they prove me wrong, which if they prove me wrong, then they better have gotten a good deal out of it overall, or else I'm going to be very, very upset, and you'll know about it here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there you go, though. All the time we have for today here on this mailbag. I see a lot more questions, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a second mailbag probably tomorrow, so stay tuned and subscribe for that. So if your question was not answered, I'll go and answer that hopefully in tomorrow's video, because we had too many to fit in a 10-minute video, so we'll go ahead and answer more questions in a video tomorrow, so stay tuned, as I said, for that. All the time we have for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I am Thomas Mott, signing off to the rest of your day.